Welcome. Welcome, welcome. going on, ladies and gentlemen? What's up, Roger? It's been a while. It's been a hot second. What the heck? Oh, dude, my mic is about to fall. My mic is about to go to a one-way ticket to hell. Can you guys hear me okay? Quick test. All right, perfect. Welcome, Mario. It's good to see you. Welcome, Gary. Okay, let's start. Seems like Friday is the best time to do a live stream. Everyone's just kind of chilling, you know, just hiding from their wives. Maybe. No one has time for relationships, right? I should be very careful saying that. Yeah, grab a glass of wine or a whiskey or something. Get some chocolate with it. All right, let's do it. Good morning, brothers. It's always good to see you. And sisters. Don't want to leave out the females in here. You sold your wife. Maybe you can buy her back at 100K. Is she worth 100K or 200K? All right, let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you very much for joining. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Does help the video a lot. Helps me. And I'm sure you guys love these live streams, so I'll try to do it more often. So let's get down to business. Where do we sit on Bitcoin? Because we do have a lot of price action happening on the shorter time frames, which we'll go over. Go over on some shorter time frame analysis as well for Bitcoin. We'll discuss what the overall trend is going to be. Are we going to get a pullback eventually that we're already expecting very soon? We've been doing quite nicely on this run up right here, right? So it's all about conviction, right? It's all about conviction instead of sharing 15,000 different scenarios, right? It's better to just work with one or two scenarios, and then, you know, it's better to get invalidated. It's better to be wrong and know why you got invalidated instead of having 15,000 different scenarios and just picking one and saying that you're right. Or, yeah, I guess from an educational perspective, it's okay, but that's not our goal here. We're trying to have high conviction of the overall trend, making sure that we cater towards the people who are in swing positions for longs or shorts, because we do have to also stay neutral. We want to also be making sure that we have some kind of neutral bias approach. We can't be bullish forever, right? Which I do have a very important video coming up, which is going to be a bearish thesis. It's going to be about 30 minutes. I'll be talking about the fundamental approach, also what kind of new approaches we can be making for the overall thesis for Bitcoin, what has changed over the past 4 years. Been in the market since 2016, so a lot of things have changed. So we'll talk about that as well in the next videos. All right, so far we do have this completion of an ABC. I think there's nothing new here that we need to discuss. We were expecting a major reversal at these levels here anyways, right? We were expecting it based on this 4-hour divergence. This was the biggest factor because we did hit peak RSI for this wave 3. That gave us that the oscillation being the lowest point. And with any point on the RSI, if you have a peak RSI on a higher time frame of the 4-hour and up, usually it'd be some kind of wave 3. It gets a little bit more difficult to identify peak RSI when it goes onto the daily time frame. So the 4-hour is typically going to be your main course of understanding whether the trend is intact or not, right? Now, someone did ask me earlier today on X about hidden divergences. They're great. They're okay if you know how to utilize them. They're mostly for how they are, the trend is continuing or not. It's not great for optimal entries. I think that was one big question that someone asked me about hidden divergences. But with confirmed RSI divergences, especially if you have a very strong downtrend or uptrend, depending on whatever trend you're in, the divergence being created on the 4-hour is usually going to be a very important indication that the trend has ended. Usually that will happen in a C wave of a flat or a zigzag even when you're on the larger time frame. So that was a very important move that we wanted to take into consideration for a reversal. That's what we got. So we were expecting this move to the upside with high conviction. We were counting this whole wave up, more or less. So this is going to be an important zone now. We are entering some major, I don't know, what Fibonacci are we at right now? If we look at we didn't hit any major high ones. We did hit the 786, so this is looking like it's ready to just continue up, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I do expect some kind of rejection around here, or at least some kind of stall, multi-week pullback, and then off to the races for wave 3, right? And I'm sure that will show on the volume. Simple moving averages are doing a fantastic job of helping support Bitcoin, but again, I do have a very strong bearish thesis that I will be covering in the upcoming videos that will be very important to watch, because I will be discussing how the Bitcoin bubble can pop. Whether it's now, whether it's later, we'll discuss that. But for now, we have a pretty good solid move off of the lows. This is possibly one of the strongest moves. I would say 27% is not something to be joking around with, especially if you're in short from these regions here. But it is what it is, right? So if we come back into the range, let's talk about what possibilities are there. Now, we do have the idea of a structured or nested structure of a larger wave 3 being built here, right? Or built. We were looking for this ABC pullback. Fantastic, right? We got that. We said that with high conviction. We were looking for a pullback no matter what. We got that. And this move off the lows looking fantastic again, right? So how can we understand this range? Are we going to come back down for the shorter time frames? Because I'm sure there are some short-term traders who are interested in longing, or I mean shorting these positions here. But again, it gets riskier for longs now, that is, in the short term. But overall, the trend is still going to the upside. Now, that is the frustrating part as a short-term trader, because you really need to learn how to risk manage your positions, right? So always make sure to risk manage your positions. I have a whole list of articles on TradingView. If you're interested, remember, I'm only one of the few people who are the top educators on TradingView alone, right? Wizard badge, ladies and gentlemen. Only 3 got selected. 4 or 5, I believe, selected. But if you go down, you scroll down, not only my Elliott Wave guide. By the way, I hacked the system, man. I was able to get on the top of Google as well. You know, you got to think from the psychological perspective of the traders. But again, I have the idea. People don't even know how to use the risk reward tool. That's very important, ladies and gentlemen. You want to learn how to use this, right? So, not sure why this is loading, but yeah, I have a whole guide on how to use it, how to calculate it, what risk reward ratio is great. This is all created back in the days, like 4 or 5 years ago. What time frames are great? You know, this is the #1 referred by all articles basically on the internet, on my flowchart. Everyone copied it, you know, basically how to understand Bitcoin cycles. We have a full list of educational topics, basically. If you want to learn how to day trade, I have very basic risk management approachments. Yeah, it's just how it is, man. It's like these tools are there for you, ladies and gentlemen. These tools are for you, okay? And then I also give my approach on Bitcoin's overall macro perspective as well. So please do go look at there as well, at X-Force Global at TradingView, okay? So what's going on now? Again, we got that ABC pullback. We're now looking for a continuation to the upside for a possible wave 5. This wave 5 is now going to be the completion of our first impulse wave. We're now looking for, again, the completion of a larger primary degree wave 5 of the macro. Which means that we're looking for either an extension. This could technically be just an intermediate wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, which means we could just be technically working for a wave 1 primary degree, depending on how far we go. We really don't know. It can be ultra bullish if we really wanted to be bullish, but again, we want to be rational here. But this is how we're currently going to be seeing it. This should be the primary degree, actually. So yeah, this should be the overall narrative on how we're going to be looking at it. We're looking for a 1-2 pullback because this is going to be our first wave. This 27% move off the lows is fair enough to say that we're ready for some kind of pullback of a larger degree. And then this multi-week pullback will start to turn into a massive wave 3. That's how we're going to be looking at it, or at least I am. That 3-4 should bring us into territory of most likely the $110,000 to $120,000, depending on if this plays out ideally with the wave 3, right? So that's how I'm currently seeing the markets. We're ready to go up, but it's going to take some time. There's going to be in-between fights. You know, with this pullback here, this multi-week pullback, I'm guaranteed there's going to be videos and posts on not Instagram, but Twitter, on X about, you know, oh, I told you so, this pullback was happening. I mean, but with Elliott Wave 3, at least you can be prepared somewhat for the psychological, market psychological approach in terms of how to play these corrections, right? So zooming right back in again, we got this ABC. This is how I would count it personally. We have some kind of diagonal of some sort going into wave A. WXY into wave B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into C. That completed our trend overall. So zooming even further in, looks like it is complete. I was looking into this a little bit, but looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 3, 4, and some kind of ending expanding diagonal into wave 5. That's now ended. I wouldn't put a wave 3 here. I guess technically you can say it's a flat and then we're working for a wave 5, but it just doesn't seem to have the right look. This overlapping structure looks like it was trying to pivot out of here, but that pivot out of here, let's see what the divergence is saying. So yeah, pivot based on this RSI divergence as well is seeing some kind of possible top here as well, looking for an ABC pullback. We retrace the diagonal in itself, which is a common characteristic. Usually we'll trace the whole retracement of the whole diagonal itself. Then you will see some kind of bounce. Either that is the end of the correction, but we didn't get it in a three-way fashion. Usually the first leg is also a possibility to retrace the whole diagonal itself. Then possible lower levels, retest some kind of Fibonacci level, we'll see. And then this will be our intermediate wave 1, ABC 2, and then off again, right? So how would that fit in? If we have 5 waves up completed now, how will this fit into this medium time frame analysis now? Well, that would be the wave 1, like I said, right? This wave 1, looking for wave 2, 3, 4, 5. That should bring us into that primary fifth. Should be ending around the upper boundary of the channel if we're still seeing this as the overall channel. But yeah, I would keep it as this. Remember, adjustments of the channel, you always want to use the pivot of wave 1, 2, and 3. You don't want to pivot on the wave 4. So because the channeling idea is based on the 1, 2, 3. I think someone was asking about this earlier. You always want to keep the channeling based on your primary degree of wave 3 and wave 1, 2. So you would take the termination of wave 1, termination of wave 2, and the termination of wave 3 as we have here, right? So the channel projections is based on the wave 4s and the wave 5s. That's the only way we're going to be projecting it. So this wave 4, I was actually kind of expecting a pivot here because I was seeing some kind of ABC being completed here, where we had a flat for wave B, but we didn't get that. We instead created a symmetric or an equality with ABC here instead, and we overshot the actual trend, right? Which is fine. And then we're now looking for a projection of wave 5 in these regions here as just a normal target. No, nothing will be perfect in terms of trend lines, in terms of Elliott Wave projections of targets. It's just merely to guide you of the overall direction of the trend, right? Risk management is a completely different topic. So with that being said, again, we're looking for a shorter term 1-2 pullback, whether it is some kind of flat being created, we really don't know. We did hit the 90%. So interestingly enough, just looking at this, if this is a flat, this could technically turn into a 1-2 flat. Not the best looking because this is still impulsive, right? If we're seeing this as an impulse to the upside, let's see if we can count it as a corrective move. So we saw this as a wave 1, 2. Oh, another educational additional perspective here is some people were labeling this as a diagonal. You can't have a truncation for a wave 1. It's kind of a stupid rule, right? It's not even listed in the Elliott Wave theory principle, but it is something to take note of, which is you can't have a truncation for a wave 1 within a diagonal, okay? Even though this wave 1 length doesn't have any relationship with the other waves, you can't have a truncated wave 5 within a leading diagonal. You can have it in an ending diagonal, but you can't have it within a leading diagonal. You can have it in an ending. So this would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? But alternatively, I guess we could say that this is an A, this is a B, and then this is a C. Same thing, the same idea of having this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the expanding diagonal going into that wave 5. So this would be the ABC. We hit the 90%. I did the projection here. We did hit 90%. So it is technically flat. Crazy how we just hit it right on the dot. It's kind of strange, actually. I mean, but yeah, ABC to the upside. Since we have a 3-wave going in, this would be the beginning of an A. This could be the beginning of a B, and then we could be working in a C. Now, interestingly enough, this is rare. I think it's quite rare to me personally. I did discuss this with Elliott Wave International previously when I was talking about flats. I had a whole session with them actually, which is the rarity of flats in itself. The expanded flats are actually quite more common than actual regular flats. The regular flat is just giving you kind of a guideline or just overall perspective of how flats are going to be created, but usually you'll have more expanded flats just because markets, from a psychological perspective, they want to break the previous high or the origin of your wave A or wave 1. So yeah, you'll usually have a higher peak and then the rejection happening, which is considered a fake out to those who are not versed in the Elliott wave theory. So that's why you'll see more expanded flats happening, because when you have that C wave happening as well, markets tend to want to break the previous low or the origin of wave A as well, right? Or the termination of wave A rather. And then that's why you'll have a higher peak and higher peak known as the price extreme. Hold on, I gotta get a water. So yeah, regular flats, they're not as common. In fact, if it hits the 90%, I know a lot of people say 90% is the actual retracement level for a flat, but personally, just based on my experience, the regular flats, I don't like to even see them as a commonality within the markets. 90%, I'd still treat that as a deep zigzag if you're able to fit in a 5-wave move, a 535 of something. So a deep, you want to have a 5-wave move here, and then typically if you could fit it in, then I would treat this as a deep B wave. And then if you're going to have a deep C wave or equality of some sort, I would just treat it as a zigzag. That's just me. So yeah. Damn, I gotta update OBS. Anyways, so yeah, that's just another perspective. So yeah, no diagonal, leading diagonal, you can't have a truncated fifth. So we treat this as a flat. And then this would be the ABC to the upside. You'd have 1, 2, 3, and then this would be your diagonal. So that's that. What else? If that's the case, and we did hit the 90%, you know, just keeping that subjectivity out, we can have a flat. Meaning that even though this wave 1, 2 has corrected or completed, we're looking for not this wave 2 coming down anymore. If this was the end of a trend. In fact, this could be the beginning of the actual trend to the upside. That is even more bullish. So if we do come back, get retested here, this wave 2 is now in. Meaning that if this comes down as a 5-wave move, we're now in that possible larger move to the upside, which is absolutely possible. 3, 4, 5. That still brings us a little bit short on target if we're going to be seeing a larger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if that 1, 2 is shallow, which is absolutely possible, shallow 1, 2 pullbacks happen within fifth waves. Very common because markets tend to have more anxious approaches to the markets when they're in a fifth wave, especially within commodities. That's why you see more stronger fifth waves within commodities. Bitcoin is a commodity in itself. Maybe that's why markets are anticipating for this larger fifth wave, including me. So this shallow pullback for a 1, 2 could be possible, and we can have our extended wave 3 happening now even. And then that'll still bring us up to a little bit of a shorter target because we want to be rational on this wave 3 just based on the projections, right? So that could still technically bring us up to higher levels of 100K, right? And that'll finish off our larger 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 of the primary degree. So if we look at that, let's say the trend has ended. Let's just say it hasn't ended, okay? Let's say that this 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 is in, based on this arrow. This 1, 2 now could be turning into a flat idea of some sort. We don't know. We really don't know. And then we're off to the races. We don't come down and retest any of the major Fibonacci levels. What if this is just a shallow 1, 2 that goes down to the 382, the 50%? And then we don't even go down to the 618. Then we're off to the races for wave 3. Again, we want to be a little bit rational here. 3, 4, and then 5. That could still bring us up into the 100K regions. That's absolutely possible, but that's based on Bitcoin being parabolic, and we have our 1, 2 in. So that is how we're going to be able to see the actual trend being built for that 1, 2 possibility. But to me, I like to see things very simply, where we have a nested structure of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's not being complete. And then we'll be looking for a pullback for a 1, 2, right? If you've seen my latest video, that is a possibility. So if this does turn into a 3-wave, which is absolutely possible, that's the one drawback of the Elliott Wave theory. It creates a lot of internal hindsight bias. But if you have a little bit of grasp on the kind of fractal nature of Bitcoin, then who knows? This ABC could be in play, right? So this being a 3, 3, and then we're looking for a 5, that could be the 1, 2. We don't come down, necessarily have to come down all the way to the 618. Maybe we extend the 5th wave a little bit more. Maybe we're working in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this wave 2 is in. That's absolutely possible. I'll be definitely monitoring it. Definitely. That would be insane, actually. That would be super bullish, right? Super bullish. But again, we want to be neutral here, right? We want to be neutral as possible. I did share the idea of having this to be a WXY, but it's now surpassed 70% within the Fibonacci level. So most likely this is not going to be a double zigzag, even though technically it can be. So yeah, flat idea or a continuation. That's about the narrowed down idea we can get. I think someone asked about can we just continue up now? Sure, and that's the only way we can do it. And if that's the case, this idea just still remains as the primary scenario until it happens. We don't know. I mean, we are always going to be trying to get a more clearer picture once the data is given. But for now, this 5th wave is looking like it's ready to play out. But since this wave 1 is quite extended, let's say that the 5th wave is in based on this expanded diagonal, right? Let's say the retracement happens, you know, based on the 618 or even the 382. It depends on how shallow of a pullback it is. Let's say that 1, 2 is now in play, right? We would find the targets based on our trend extension to project our targets, since the normal Fibonacci can't do it. Then our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will come up here. That'll end our wave 5 even higher, which is what we want. That'll break the all-time highs. And that again, alone, will be another possible rejection at those levels, and then we come down for a deeper 1, 2. In fact, at that point, I don't think even wave 2 will be that deep. It'll be quite shallow in that case. So in order to get there, we would have this as a 1, 2, based on this projection, 3, 4, 5. Have this as our intermediate degree. And that can complete this trend also at the upper boundary of the channel, right? So 3, 4, 5, beautiful looking impulsive structure. This is the ideal, is, you know, eyegasm, basically. It's like what Elliott, even Ralph Elliott, I'm sure this is what he imagined for a perfect structure to be. Internal structures also taken into consideration. We hit the wave 3 intermediate degree. Wave 1 of that is 1.618. Then we hit 4-5 very nicely. This pullback is exactly what we anticipated. Not necessarily alternations, but alternations don't really work in shorter time frames. I mean, it's just more a self-fulfilling prophecy than anything else. So yeah, that's how we're going to be looking at it. I mean, that's, in my opinion, a possibility where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's going to be completed as wave 1. Now this pullback is going to be very crucial, right? We won't know until it happens. So maybe we just get the F out of here right now, right? But either way, this technical 1-2 is coming into play. I mean, it could really create even a new extreme high and then a new extreme low that still doesn't go down even to the 382. We don't know. We won't know until it actually happens. But the overall trend remains intact. So that would be the overall primary case where we would have this going into as an intermediate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, again, idealized, right? Projection based on the wave 2 pullback and then projection based on the pivot of wave 2. We're going to have our wave 3 extension at the 1618. That's just a normal extension target for a wave 3, right? So, yeah. All right, what else? So yeah, to summarize it, this idea is now turning into a possibility of a shallow pullback. I don't think that we'll even go into the 618 at this point because we do have a pretty clear equality between waves A and C. I didn't even measure it. It just looks like it from my eye. Yeah, clear equality. We hit the zone that's very important for equality, right? And if this is a three-way move, if, that's a big if, then I would expect this to be, I guess, technically a normal flat if you wanted to say that the 90% is enough. To me, it's not. I really like to see flats at least hit 100% or the 105% for an expanded flat of some sort because that is just typical of nature of the price action. So if that happens, this wave 2 is now coming into play, which is we're looking for this primary degree to play out as a flat. That would be the ideal situation for separation of how we want to keep the idealized look of a new trend, okay? We don't want to be, crazy with the counts. We want to be simple as possible, meaning this whole completed trend, now we're working in a 1-2. Now, what is the mode of corrections? That's the only way that we could say. We could technically say that wave 2 is already in, right? But of course, we want to work with depth as well when it starts to come to wave 2s because that is characteristic of a wave 2. But it is also characteristic of time, which is flats. That's the only mode of correction that I can think of, meaning that we either extend it in time to create some kind of range for a wave 2, after a completed trend, and then the markets are ready to go out, then we're all working towards the upside. So that is the overall corrective scenario. Either that or we correct one more time to the upside impulsively, and then we do a larger 1-2 correction as that. That's the only way. At the current time of recording, that's how I'm now seeing this current level of pullback. So those two are the very important scenarios. Now, again, projected larger targets, 100,000 to 120,000. Those are my zones of profit taking in my personal view, okay? Because if we zoom out now we can talk about the possible way we can count it. The only way I can count it is this, where we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because channel, perfect. Projection here. We're looking for equality for wave 1 with wave 5. We're now looking for a possible $110,000 target. Could be short, could be technically at the median line, it could be technically at the upper boundary of the line. It doesn't matter. We're still just looking for a little bit more upside, right? Price action, that's exactly what we're looking for, and it's starting to come into play. We don't need to be creative here. I guess we can talk about alternation between wave 3 and 3, 4 and wave 1, 2, but alternations haven't met. Remember, alternations are not based on the depth of it. That is another guideline that you can add on top of it, but it has been met. We can have a technical ABC here. If you wanted to really be, fitting in a possible alternation, you could have a possible actionary wave being built here as a 535 idea, right? Where we have the ABC being created here. And that would be your technical zigzag. That fits into the idea of an alternation. You need to obey the basic idea of the integrity of the actual structure, which means the corrective pattern is more important. Now, when you're working in alternation, another thing that I think many people are curious about is, what if this is a sideways structure? Now, the only sideways structure that can help fit in, that can replace the idea of a zigzag, is a triangle idea. That is the only idea. If you have a sideways 2 and then you have a 3, a triangle idea can help fit in the idea of alternation, based on the fact that wave B doesn't turn into a running triangle. If it's a normal contracting triangle, this idea could also help to fit the idea of an alternation. Okay? That's just another fun fact idea. But we do have alternations being met here. So we do have that ABC, and we're just looking for a 5-wave move. Everything is fitting into the puzzle, ladies and gentlemen. We had that 5-wave move. Everything is just a blimp within the galaxy. If we are able to get that 1-2 pullback, this wave 3 should technically turn into that breakage of that median line, come back for that wave 4, retest that median line, and then that right there is going to be our wave 5 projecting target. Okay? So that's that. What other ways can we count this, you may ask? I don't know, to be honest. I guess this could be an ABC. Right? Could be an ABC, where we have a larger flat being created. That would be part of my bearish thesis, actually. So that can be the ABC to the upside, and that would be completing the overall bull market entirely. Would be freaking strange if that happened. That would be very strange if that happened, actually. I've talked about it before, but it's a very dangerous mindset to keep. I definitely wouldn't have this in mind. But anything's possible, right? If you have your mindset to it. If liquidation is... if you want to get liquidated, you better have a way to cover your margin, man. Sell your kids, sell your wife, sell your liver, your... How many organs can you live without the body? Can you live without the human body? Oh my god, look at this. You'll be surprised as to how much you could lose and still live. You can still have a fairly normal life with one of your lungs. A kidney, your spleen, appendix, gallbladder, tonsils, plus some lymph nodes, the fibula bones from each leg of your 6 ribs. So if anyone's in the market for one lung, and you're in a short right now, the black market is for you right now. You could sell a kidney if you wanted to. But yeah, this would be the ABC. ABC to the downside. 5th wave. What else? If that is the end of the trend, to be honest, I don't even want to say that's the end of the trend. To be honest, the bull market ending here, it would be a far better idea. Just complete reversal here. So if you're a bear, you just might as well stick to a bull until we reach these levels anyways. Just a little bit of more liquidations or liquidity within these regions here. get the bulls hyped up more, and then this is the ultimate zone for a possible short, right? Because that's the expectation. But technically, I guess I'll just show it to you guys right now. I do have a count based on the BLX chart, which is we have a primary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into a larger cycle 1, 2. And again, the only reason or evidence that I have based on this is because this is the only cycle that we've had a WXYXZ correction. And that is the only way I could fit it in, because every single corrective scenario that we've had for the bull markets was based on a WXY or an ABC. So it's zigzag family. But this corrective scenario was the only time that we didn't have it. It was a WXYXZ. That's the only way I can count it. We could technically say that this is an expanded fly, but I don't like the idea because this is now being left out as an impulse, right? So you'd have to technically count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the A wave, right? So this just fits better as a WXYXZ, and that's the only corrective 70% plus correction that has happened. Speaking of percentages, this is the only time we've only corrected 70%, not even to the 80%. So that's my evidence on why this bear market could continue technically, right? Maybe we're in a market maturity phase where everything is now flattening in terms of the curve. So the curvature is going to be very important here as well. Now, I talked about this in my cycle theories. We've predicted this on spot, basically. We're looking for that fifth wave continuation, right? So that is how we're looking at it, right? But previously, I did talk about this being an expand flat. Also possible, right? Possibility. Possible. But what other ways can we do it? Now, that is where I come in, ladies and gentlemen, because I did take the time to actually try to know when the Bitcoin bubble will pop, which will even bring us not even back down to 10K levels, but possibly back down to 3K, which is, we're now in the wave 5 rather, where everything here is now seen as a corrective structure that's also utilizing this ABC or WXYXZ to the upside for wave 3. So what that means is, we're counting this move the same way as a 1, 2, 3, and instead, we're seeing this as a triangle where wave E has truncated. And then this is now the ABC corrective structure to the upside, which utilizes this move to the upside as that beginning wave 1. And we're now seeing this as a wave 2 where we have a WXY instead of a WXYXZ. We now have that ABC where we can have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now working for wave C. We're looking for a pullback back into around $30,000. That would be a temporary bear market. And then another blast to the upside depending on how we overshoot or not overshoot the count for this trend line. We have a wave 5 of 5 being completed for this possible diagonal. Then that'll be our cycle wave 1, which means a cycle wave 1 after that is gonna be extreme reversal time. Why? Because after diagonal, you're gonna be at least retracing the whole diagonal, have a bounce. That will be the bear market rally. This is nothing. This would be nothing considering that. So this is gonna trick everyone out, trick the bears, trick the bulls, every single person in the market. Everyone. We're talking bulls and bears. This move up here, I mean, we're going to have a freaking fireworks thinking. People think it's going to be going up to $250,000 per Bitcoin. It's not going to happen. Then we're going to have the bears extremely happy as well. Wave 4 comes back in here. Then we're going to have another move to the upside around $250,000. That is going to be another firework round where we try to, say, oh, we're going to break $500,000 per Bitcoin once we get out there. This is the power of compounding, basically, this idea. Then this 1-2 will be the most destructive 1-2 that you'll ever see in the history of any asset, meaning that this is now going to be far deeper than what we've expected as a flat. That means that we'll see this move as such a strong move to the upside, liquidate everyone, and then this is where people will sell their kids, sell their wives, sell their organs and everything, and then buy back on this three-way pullback, denial phase, thinking that it's going to be another move to the upside after that happens because they thought this low wasn't going to be broken. We come back for another 300% bounce. And then part two will bring us down to $3,000. This will be the strongest. This is going to be the strongest level of a bear market. That's when we'll see $3,000. And in fact, that would be still bullish, which is crazy to think about, right? That's crazy to think about, but it's going to fake out every single person that this whole move is now seen correctively. Okay? So I've utilized this as a possible triangle now. Simple. Simple as that. That's how we're going to have our wave 5. And then that 1-2 pullback will be the cycle degree, and we'll have a decade, basically 5 to 10 years of a bear market basically for Bitcoin. And that would be so beautiful, right? That would be so beautiful for a lot of bearish people. So beautiful. And then boom, $3,000, $4,000, $2,000. And don't say it's impossible, ladies and gentlemen, because we said it was impossible when we were trading at 20,000, but we came back all the way down to $2,000, right? $3,000 per Bitcoin. You guys remember that? Yeah, those were some times, right? Because once we bounced off of there and we had $14,000, we were expecting another breakout at 20K, but we came back all the way down to 4K. Then we did another major move to the upside, right? So this may be the liquidity grabbing theory that I'm building upon, the thesis of this, meaning that we're finding people, or we're trying to find people getting all on the bandwagon for Bitcoin. This is where not only institutions will sell, every single person that you know in the history that has owned Bitcoin will be selling off their Bitcoin. That's how we're going to be looking at it. Okay? Because there's no because. This is just how it is. It's just how it is. It's just how it is, man. There's no way we can, there's no other way we can count it. No other way. No other way, ladies and gentlemen. No other way. So be very careful. Not financial advice, but it is absolutely a possibility, okay? Absolutely a possibility. All right, so that is Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to go over one more coin, and then we'll go into questions. Actually, let's get into questions right now. Let's see what other people are talking about. I'm curious what you guys are seeing. Talking about. I'll pop out the chat. Okay. Eric, can you show an example of Elliott Wave theory and a bearish divergence? I've already talked about the divergences. I think I clearly explained it, Spiros, I would say, right? If you have a little bit of a more deeper question, then I'm glad to answer it. For example, on which waves should we search for a bearish divergence? Waves 3 and 5, of course. So yeah, ARB analysis. I'm sorry, man. I can't do it, dude. We've done a lot of it. Time is money. Money's time. 786. Okay, yeah. I think I answered that question. OP, shorter time frame. I already went over OP in the last live stream. I thought the book even says to update the channel to run from 2 to 4 and top of 3. Yeah, so the channeling is... So I think you misunderstood me. Of course you adjust it based on if your wave 4 is projected. But if your wave 2 is in... your wave 4 is already going to be in anyways. There's no readjustment needed. If you adjust it as such, then your wave 3, it doesn't really even matter at this point, right? The only time you readjust it is when you have a difficult time of adjusting the internal structure of the channel, or your wave 3, you're having a hard time for wave 3. If it breaks the channel, you want to, of course, adjust it. So you always want to use the pivots of 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, adjust it as needed. But your wave 4 projecting target is going to be, no matter what, the same, because it can undershoot, right? Undershooting meaning it doesn't have to hit the trend line. And then your wave 5 projection target is going to be based on the pivot from wave 3 to 5. And then that's where you'll find a divergence as well. So that's that. Let's see what other questions we got. How about expanded flat? Yes, I just explained that. The first leg of wave 4 is kind of weird. I see 2 flats there. Why did you count it a diag? I think you're talking about the shorter time frames, right? Let me see. Let's go into the shorter time frames one more time. Are you talking about the absolute shorter time frames here, where you can see this as a flat? You can, because it did hit. I don't know if it actually. I think it even surpassed the 1382 at this point. Yeah, I wouldn't even consider it flat. I just definitely see this as an expanded diag for a wave 5, because it has a relatively really nice look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 3, 4, and then overlaps wave 5. Perfect, right? Perfect. Either way, even if we do see a wave 5 happening, this internal structure 1, 2, it really doesn't matter. It's all part of the same structure idea anyways. Now you can talk about whether a flat is going to happen, but it's too early to talk about anyways. But if you're talking about the larger flat, where this can also happen, I already answered that question, where 90%, yeah, you can have a technical flat. But at this point, to me personally, I would try to fit in a 5-way move here and then a 3-way move here for wave B, and then just say this is a normal zigzag. Because like I said, regular flats are far more rare, even if they hit the 100%. And 90% is far more rare in itself anyways. And when you zoom out, you're going to consider it to be a zigzag anyways, because that's how it looks like on the larger time frames, right? What else? Oh, shoot, we got a donation. I guess I have to do it. Aleph? Why would you be in this coin? Why would you be in this coin? Definitely a diag of some sort. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like a flat of some sort. Ooh. We'd have to turn this to primary degree. I'm doing this on the spot, so let's just see how it turns out to be the count. This does have an okay look for nearly 100%, right? So this is definitely a 3-wave, so it looks impulsive now, right? So we're looking for 5 waves down now, which should either complete as 90. So we're now looking for 90% of the retracement of wave A now. Well, it should be 100% technically, but let's see. So yeah, this is, oh, hold on. It's pretty bullish. Yeah, it looks bullish. This looks like a completed trend for sure, because this retracement was strong enough to say that. I mean, I don't want to even say this is a 1-2, 1-2 idea. This doesn't look impulsive. So it's part of a larger range. Yeah, definitely. Because of the wild swings. Now, this could be technically going into some kind of larger range idea. The only mode of corrections that we can have is a triangle or a flat, but it seems more flat to me. Triangles you can't even fit in a wave 2 anyways, so this just seems more likely at this point. Another expanded diagonal going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of some sort. But it's so choppy, it doesn't really matter. This is definitely a diagonal idea going in, for sure. We're going to have to disregard this current move here. It does look like 5 waves down, though. So, I mean, from what I've learned from the wave theory or Elliott Wave International is if you don't have data, is that you either want to assume that the correction has ended. Now, it's impossible. You won't know, but just based on this 5-way move, you're going to have to see this as a wave A or 1, 2. Then this would be a wave 2. Then you'd be working in a larger structure. And then you can either assume that this is the beginning of a trend or not, but it doesn't really matter. But to me, I like to see the beginning of a trend as the important factor, because that's just how it is for the nature of crypto. So this is some kind of sideways structure. I think it's pretty bullish because on logarithmic, you actually have data now. This was accumulation, and that's the beauty of semi-log, or I mean linear. Logarithmic is now considering that we had an exponential move off of the lows. It means that the markets are now interested in it. And you're now working in a different range. And I think that's why we're seeing this range being built here. So this looks quite bullish. I would wait a little bit, see how we come back down. But it does look like we are in the final 5th wave of some sort, and then we're off for wave 3, 4, 5. And as you can see, that gives it a pretty darn good look for overall that we're looking for. Now, this could technically, maybe, turn into a diagonal in itself because of so many 3s being built, right? That would be the only mode of correction, which could be the way that we can build a wave 1, 2. So if this does get supported somehow, 1, 2, this would be the A, B, C, then that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means you'd now be working in a 1, 2, 3. This would be a very deep B wave, 3, 4, and then 5, and then you'd have definitely some kind of structural, depending on how this correctively works out, this could be the intermediate wave 1, and then we can have that deeper wave 2, and then we're off. So that would be the way to look at it. It's either now or, but just simply put with the data given, it just looks like a range 1, 2 idea. That's the way I would put it. Now, going back to Bitcoin, hopefully that was helpful. Let's get some more questions. Gotcha, that makes more sense. Thanks, Eric. You're very welcome, brother. You're very, very welcome. Your divergence theory helped me a lot. Can you discuss the idea of that idea one more time? Huh? Rewrite your question, brother. Bigger wave 4 of ABC, not that short. Bigger wave 4 of ABC. What time frame, brother? What time frame? Are you talking about the expanded flat of that wave 3, 4 that I discussed on the macro, where we were looking for this being the expanded flat here? Here? This ABC? I don't like it. Not very often I get to catch the live streams, but that was cracking, mate. You're very welcome, man. You're very welcome. Is there a way to differentiate impulsive wave and corrective wave of WXYXZ? That's a great question. That's a very good question, Soviet Union. Let me. You should change your name, by the way. But yeah, that's an excellent question, because that is a very high possibility that this is an impulsive wave, where we have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Right? But you need to have this as the end of something, or the beginning of something. You can't have a 1-2 as an impulsive wave, so you're stuck with the WXYZ. That's the only way we can have a distinct impulsive wave of fitting into something. So technically, I think they're very close. Thinking about it, like corrective-wise and impulsive-wise, just depending on the wave threes, they're actually very close. All they're doing is just working in threes, anyways, right? So a triple zigzag, right? We could still have all these as three-wave moves. This is it's pretty three-wave-ish, but this does fit better as an impulsive wave. I don't like to use triple zigzags because they're so rare. That's why I'm still skeptical, and I think that the bear market idea, the thesis that I shared earlier, has a very strong merit, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm not completely out of the picture for a bearish structure. But in order to fit this in, yeah, it would only be able to be fitted as an A, B, C idea. That's the only way we can have it where this is a wave 3, 4. But I don't like having that macro structure as that, or as such. Instead, we would have to label this as an ABC, WX, and then ABC into an X, and then wave Y would end here, where we're an ABC, C wave as a diagonal, and then this would be the three-wave move down. What the? As this. And that would finish your 1-2. So we're forced to be bullish here. We're forced to be bullish here. There's no other way. I mean, we can technically say that this is a 1-2 ABC, but that doesn't fit the characteristic of the ABC that we're looking for in a bear market. This is technically a bear market, ladies and gentlemen. That's the important thing. Okay, so the impulse move from July 5th. July 5th. Where are we? Can't believe we've already done it. This move here, right? July 5th. All right, let's get that question. The impulse from July 5th could also be a wave X, meaning the big WXY from March continues. Dude, I'm not sure what you're asking. I don't know if you're asking for the internal structure here, where this is the ABC. If you're asking about this flat, if you can rewrite the question a little bit further, then I'll be happy to answer it. Could you please check FET? No. Hyung. Mexi has a better history. Oh, shoot, you should have told me earlier, man. But I already gone over it, man. It should be helpful. It should be the same anyways. It's just part of a different structure of a 1-2. OP chart, you said like last week. How does it look now this week? I've already gone over it. It's the same. I like the ending diagonal option with 3K target very much. Is this Mario? It's Mario. Come on. I think I have a similar account somewhere in my library, and I was talking about the correction before C19 as a triangle. Well, I've answered the question for you then, I guess, brother. Why complicate it and say it is a WXY when you can count it as a clear impulse for a C wave? Correction wave WXY often tends to go sideways for a longer time. Yeah, I think depends on if you're in a complex sideways structure of a combo, which is extremely rare. Like the stock clean spark on daily time frame. In my opinion, some sort of complex, I guess, if you want, man. I mean, but I like to keep things simple. If you want to complicate it more, there's a reason why it's called complicated, more complex structures. There's no point in doing WXY. Already at this point, from people who I've seen see this as a WXY completion, this is already out of the picture. I mean, I'm not sure why we are still even in that discussion of seeing this as a WXY. I mean, I could see the merit in this when in fact, I was one of the first people to even discuss a possible ABC as an expanded flat. I was one of the first actually to discuss that. But I keep seeing people, DMing me about this. Why can't we? Does this look like a WXY to you? If you want to, I guess, on the macro, it's still technically possible, but there's just no point. I mean, it's so much more simpler to just say that this looks like an ABC. We have a major low, a higher low being created and a major low being created, price extreme. This just looks like an ABC. It's just that simple. And when we get out of here, it won't even be relevant anymore. There's just no point in talking about this being a WXY. And that's why I'm talking about it. It's no point in complicating the structures. Great from an educational perspective, though. Internal structure latest dump to 63K, that correction. All right, let me talk about this. Internal structure latest dump 63. I don't know if that's a question, man. Can you please do a count on 0? No. we got more things, important things to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. That you counted ABC as a diag. All right, rewrite your question all over, Ozan, and then I'll try to answer it again. All right. If this is technically a bear market, how does a bull market will look like? Is this not a bull market enough for you, ladies and gentlemen? Where we have the fifth wave in play? Is this not enough? I mean, to me, that's huge. I mean, I don't know why people are trying to find ways to see if it goes to 500,000. I don't see it going to 500K, man, at all. I don't see it at all, whatsoever. But this definitely looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just so simple. Then we get another 1, 2 pullback, and that fits into my larger. The only way we can count the bullish structure is based on fractals. Is a super cycle 1, 2, cycle 1, 2, primary 1, 2, and then that fifth wave that ends is going to be the intermediate 1, 2, and then we have that same kind of pullback that we're expecting for each of the consecutive cycles that we had, and then we're off to the more. Yeah, even I hate this count, to be honest, but it is what it is. I mean, if it's based on fractals, this is the way. If it's not based on fractals, fine. Flat idea is still there, but I don't like it either. That's not three-wave-ish corrective move to me. Guess you could have it as WXYZ, but to me still doesn't fit that idea. Instead, I've come up with this count where we make one internal sacrifice of this being the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're now seeing this as a 3, 4, relatively respecting Fibonacci ratios, by the way, except the subwave V is very short as a truncation, but still valid. This is the ABC, and that would be a long wave A, there would be a long short wave C. That's it. This would be the WXY, this would be the ABC to the upside, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now going into wave C. Then we get rejected anytime at all-time high. That meets the idea of where my fifth wave ends anyways, right? Then we come back down for wave 4 in a three-way move, come back down to whatever level, $32,000, $48,000, then go back up again to $200,000 to retest liquidity. Then that would be the overall diagonal and would have a larger 1, 2 pullback. Fake out everyone. But we are interested in this. If this move fails to go, it could turn into a WXY. I guess, man. This WXY thing is starting to turn into a meme at this point, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure why you guys love these WXYs so much. I do, but still. There's just no point in talking about it. It's better to simplify it as much as you can. If you want to learn about it, fantastic. You know, but with every single Elliott Wave count, one lecture that I've heard from Prechter himself, it will always turn into something else. Always. And that has always stuck to my head. I don't know why, but WXYs will always turn into something else. Always. No matter what. The WXYs will usually turn into something else. That's why I said even on the larger time frame, this should be turning into an ABC instead of a WXY. It's just simple, okay? Buy the dip at 3K? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That ABC diag one, why did you count it as a diag? All I can see is wave 2 flats. This one here? Are you talking about this one? Say yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay. So you're asking about this flat here. All right. What's your question again? Which diagonal are you talking about? Are you talking about this diagonal here? Because, oh, this one here? This, you're seeing this as a flat? I don't know what your question is. It's so simple, man. If you're talking about this, I'll try to answer all the questions, actually. Just what I've tried to... This is just an ABC. Like, it's not that difficult, ladies and gentlemen. We have a diagonal going. This, you're going to have to make some internal sacrifices. You could technically have this as a diagonal. Technically. Lower, I mean, it would be 1 degree lower. Then you would have your A here, and then you can have this as your internal B, and then this would be your C wave. This is my main preferred count. Internal structure, as long as the overall structure looks intact and inbound, this just equality-wise, we've hit it. This looks like an ABC to me. It just fits that diagonal idea far better than it does as any other count. I'm not sure what you mean by flat. Oh man, you really want me to talk about this, huh? Internal flat. Man, what? You talking about this B wave here? You're seeing a lot of internal flats? Ay. Alright, I'll take the time to actually count it then, if that's what you really want. Because it doesn't even matter. It's gonna end this. It ended the C wave no matter what. No matter what. If you're seeing this as flats, you would have to count this as... Jesus Christ. This would be your flat. This would have to be your flat anyways. So if that's not the case, and we want to keep it simple, we would just label this as the ABC. Meaning, this would be the ABC. Then you would have another flat within that. So it would be a very deep wave, and this is now your C wave. That is the only way we can count it. The only way. Otherwise, your wave A has to be labeled here. Maybe. Just... Man, I don't know. I guess you could fit this as a triangle. Diagonal for wave A, B, C, D, E for B, and then separation for your wave C. That's the only way, man. It's literally the only way. Either that or a larger diagonal like I have it. This is how I would do it. This is the only way I would do it. A, B, C going into wave B. And then your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the most simple way we can put it. Yeah, this would be your wave count. Otherwise, you would label this either as a flat, as a running flat, or a triangle. Because those are the only mode of corrections we can put in. Where you would have an A, B, C, D, E. And that even breaks structure of the trend lines. But XRP does that too, right? This is way too ugly. That is the only way we can do it. All right. What other questions do we have? It's ABC internal. There are some flats. Oh, man, bro, I just counted it for you, dude. I'm not sure about wave. I am sure about wave B, not asking, just asking about the diag. So you're at this diag, okay. We'll go back over it again. There's some people that's curious about other things. I'm losing viewers here because of this. For the macro bearish ABC scenario in this current leg down, wouldn't you say there's a 1-2-1-2 scenario is unlikely because of time of the current 1-2 of the main one scenario, also because of the impulsive leg up? Possible. Possible. It's unlikely. The 1-2-1-2, it doesn't even fit a 1-2-1-2 in my opinion. That macro ABC that you were talking about, you're probably talking about this one here, right? Yeah, I don't even see it as a 1-2-1-2 anymore. So that's why I'm saying it's better to have a move up to complete a trend of either a deep C wave or a 5-wave impulse before we come back down. That is the way the cookie crumbles. Thank you for your patience. You're welcome. Is this your preferred count? No, my preferred count is still this idea. Where we go up one more time. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we create all-time highs after this. We're out of here. Finally. Finally is the word we're looking for. We're finally gonna get out of here. I am also counting this being in wave 2, having 5 waves in wave 1. Great. Yep, that's how I see it too right now. However, if we're working now on wave 5, which would be the invalidation point, 68,500, just work on any invalidations. I mean, wave 1, 2, you're going to have invalidation of your 100% origin, and then whatever ABC or correction you're working on, every single origin wave is going to be your invalidation. It's that simple. Use BLX chart instead. It even goes further back if you want macro counts. Yeah, that was the BLX chart, by the way, Kostas. Doesn't wave E has to correct 70% of wave D to be valid as a wave E in triangle? No. It could still be technically validated. Now, that is something that you can consider because based on Fibonacci, but wave E in itself can truncate early. So that's the most important thing. It doesn't even have to go to 70. The previous subwaves have to be most likely as 618 Fibonacci of the preceding waves, but wave E, you can have it as a short wave E, technically. 1 BTC equals 2,000. Okay, brother. That is that scenario I've already shared. Now, let's go over XRP. XRP is very important here because a lot of people are interested in XRP as well. Now, this one too is likely finished. We're now looking for a completion to the upside for 5 waves. We have 5 waves here, either that or we're extending our 5th wave, which is unlikely. Unlikely. This could be turning into a flat 1-2 as well. ABC. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. XRP is super bullish. Super bullish. I pity those who think it's still bearish. Because even the triangle idea is extremely bullish. We just need to break this trend line. That's all. Fourth retest, this is eventually going to break. Fourth retest, you most definitely eventually will break it. But of course, major validation would be above the subwave D. Tesla, okay, I guess I'll go over Tesla once. Where is it at now? Oh, man. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? A 20% drop? You guys remember this? I was talking about this being the B pivot wave. Beautiful, beautiful. See you at 50 bucks. I sold here. If you guys don't remember, I was on public record. On public record, ladies and gentlemen, I have the best trade on Tesla. On public record. On public record, I have the best trade ever for Tesla. I sold here. Target achieved. Made a whopping 3 mils on this trade. Look at this. It's playing out perfectly. I'm still expecting 60, whatever, 70 bucks per Tesla, man. Still looking for it. 3 mils. 3. Boom. Target achieved. Shining out. Now looking for this ABC. Now this could be turning into a triangle. That is something that I am eyeing, but I'm not worried because I most definitely can enter as a triangle. This could be turning into an A, B, C, D, E. And we're looking for that subway V to get supported by this trend line. That's going to be very, very important. If that breaks, see you at 50 bucks. It's that simple. This is very tricky though. This move here, I mean, we have so many. This is just like XRP in itself. We have expanding diagonals going into wave A. Same here, wave A. It's the only way we can count it. I guess we can technically put this as an ABC as a running flat idea, but just fits better separation wise having this as an ABC, ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. This looks like a 3-wave completion now. Guess technically it could be wave 4 that we're working in, then we move up. But again, very tough resistance. It's very tough. I think we're going to range more than anything else. OI is insanely high. Can this move up also be a wave X from March 2024, meaning the big correction? LTC. Okay, I'll go over one more. LTC. What do I have it as counted? Same idea. Triangle, same as XRP, but it's just a little bit elongated. In my opinion, this looks more like a triangle than anything else. We're working for subwave D. ABC into A, ABC into B, ABC into C. Now we're looking for another 3-wave structure for a wave D. ABC. That's how I see it. It's really the only way. Either that or a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Doesn't have the best look though, because degrees and times. So triangle is the only way we can do it. So this would be the wave 3, 4. Could be technically finished though. Technically, but it broke this previous low on a few exchanges like this. So yeah, that is out of the picture. But I think BCH, Bitcoin Cash, has technically also finished its what the heck? How do I have? Oh, okay, yeah. Technically finished its possible truncation here. Much more beautiful. We have ABC, 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 ABC. Subwave D has now completed. Wave 4 has now completed for wave E. So now we'd be working in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 1, 2, and then we'd be working for more upside for wave 5. Same idea. 2000 100% possibility here. Now, technically, if we're going to be extending this in time for Bitcoin Cash, could also be turning into a possible triangle as well. That's how we're doing it. Guys, I gotta go to, hold on, I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back. All right, back. So yeah, this could be an ABCD. Remove this. And have wave 4 extend in time. Not the... I don't even... To be honest, I don't even know how you count this. Yeah, this would be the way. A, B, C. And then... this would be just like Litecoin, how it's showing. And then one more low to the downside. That's going to be pretty bearish, right? But technically, if XRP is in a bullish state in itself, this would be the best way. Where we have the completion of a triangle. Now, Dogecoin is also a step ahead of the game, meaning that it has completed its possible triangle. It's the ugliest triangle, but hey, this is the only way I can count it. Where we have A, B, C, D, E, wave 4. This is the 1, 2, and then we're off. So same idea. Technically, we can extend this triangle even further now. But now those two options remain, right? So those two options are the current way we can be counting it. Okie dokie. Tesla at 50 would be wild. No one believed me when I sold off the top, absolute top. No one believed me that it was going to go down 80%. It did. When I become a bear, I become a bear. You guys know this. The OGs of X-Force Global know that I am like extreme bear when it comes to being bearish. Trust me. Neo moving like a turtle. XRP BTC chart looks quite interesting for confirmation too. Claim the 200 daily for 2021 up. Yeah, the Satoshi value definitely looks interesting for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. I will do another video analysis update for you guys coming in the next few, maybe today, not hours, but today. I might do a video analysis on Ethereum. I might do a video on another altcoin like OP. OP is very interesting. So we'll do another video on that maybe. We'll see, right? So hopefully that was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Hopefully, I've already gone over Bitcoin, so we'll talk about it again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.